CorelDRAW tips and tricks. Today's session, the Pic Tool and the Shape Tool with Steve Spence. Brought to you by Condi Systems. Today's session, the Pic Tool and the Shape Tool. Located in the upper left-hand corner, the very top two on your toolbar. We'll look at the first one first, and that is the Pic Tool. If you put your mouse on the little arrow and hold it, it will give you a description of what the tool is and what it does. This one selects, positions, and transforms objects. If you click on the little arrow that's in the lower left-hand corner, it will give you some options. In this case, we have pick and freehand pick. We'll be using the pick. Secondly is the Shape Tool. Again, if you hold your cursor over the tool, it will tell you what it does. We'll come back to that one in a few moments. The Pic Tool is used to select objects. If we want to select our title, we click anywhere on the title, and you can see it generates some black boxes around the text, and we know that it has been selected. One of the nice things about the Pic Tool is if you're out working somewhere else in your toolbars, you can always come back to the Pic Tool just by hitting your space key. You hit your space bar and it instantly comes back to the Pic Tool. Now the Pic Tool is used for selecting objects. If we select on the red box, we can move it anywhere we want. Select the green box, we can move it anywhere we want, and same with the blue. If we want only two of the boxes, we draw an imaginary box around the two objects that we want by click and dragging our left-hand mouse. And you can see it has selected both objects. Once it has selected two objects, and by the way, it tells you how many it's selected at the bottom of the screen, you can move them jointly, or we can select all three and move all three of them as a unit. If you want to select just the back one, we just click on it with a left mouse click. Same thing is true with text. Just select it by clicking somewhere on the text, and you'll get the little black bounding box and an X in the center. And that X is very important because that is what we use. That is the handle that is used for moving objects. Sometimes objects are so intertwined they're very difficult to get to. And when we try to select one, it just becomes almost impossible because it always wants to select the wrong one. In this example, for instance, it's really very easy to select the right one. All I have to do is go up here to the red. But if you will apply your imagination just a little bit, you have a situation where it's very difficult to get a hold of that red box. And the way we do that is by pressing the Control key and then clicking on the object we want. The Control key sends the Pic Tool to the very tiniest spot and tells it that's what you're looking for. It's very helpful when you have a complicated drawing on the screen and you're trying to get just one little tiny thing like the beak of a bird or the toenail of a bird. The Shape Tool is likewise used all the time. We'll go back up to our left-hand corner and we're going to click on the Shape Tool. If you'll put your mouse over top of the little arrow and click, try that again, we get a fly-out menu that says it can be used as a shape tool, a smudge brush, a roughen brush, free transform, smear, twirl, attract, repel, and a smooth tool. And today we look only at the top one, which is the Shape Tool. There's lots to learn about shape tools. For instance, we'll go back and hit our space key. We'll pull this box out, for instance. Now we go back to our Shape Tool and we can round the corners of that box. And we do that with the shape tool. Just click and drag. Let's take that back out again with an undo. And let's do something a little different. If you'll notice up here at the top of the screen, you have three choices. This, I believe, is called a scallop, and then this is called a chamfered corner. Let's look at the scalloped corner. We'll go up to that corner node. We can do any one of the corners. It doesn't matter which one. Click and drag. Space tool, so it'll release it. And as you can see, it has scalloped the corners. If we tell it to undo that, so we can look at the chamfered corners, same thing there. Oops. Get the right tool, click and drag, and now we have chamfered corners. We'll zoom in so you can see what that is. So once more, we'll undo, select our shape tool. There you can see what are called nodes. Sometimes this tool is called a node tool. In the earlier versions of Corel, it was actually named that. If we'll click and drag, you can see what happens. Okay, let's undo that. One more time, we'll do the scalloped corner. You can see how that works. Now, one of the things that you must remember if we want to change the size of this now and we stretch it, we may distort these corners, so you have to be careful. You want to do your chamfer corner, your scallop corner, and your rounded corners after you've determined the size and shape of the box. You can do it proportionally, but it's best if you don't change just one dimension after you've done this. Now sometimes we don't want, let's go back one more time. Sometimes you don't want all four corners done. So again, we'll go back up to the top and we'll look, and you see a little lock. That lock tells us that all the corners are going to edit the same at the same time. If we unlock that, then we can actually turn them off. And we can set how much we want for each corner. We'll set it like that. Then we can actually change it. Oops. We can actually change it on one corner. Look at the lower left. We can make it very different on the upper right. We can actually change these one corner at a time. When you're happy with your results, you want to be sure and go back and lock it again, or you may come up with a strange surprise that you can't figure out how to get out of. So the shape tool is used for a variety of functions, not just one thing. Now let's go down to text and let's look at what the shape tool does to text. If we select the text using the shape tool, you'll see that there is a node at the front of each letter. This node actually represents an imaginary box around each letter, like so. And every letter always has a box. These are used for kerning. I'll get rid of this box because we really don't want that there. And what it does is it takes that imaginary box, it bumps them together, and that's how far it spaces the letters apart. Well, that's fine for a word like text, but what if we do WV or VA? Whoops, should be a capitals. You see the difference between the spacing here and here? That's called kerning, and we'll talk a lot more about kerning in another unit, but for right now, just know that this kind of issue is solved with the shape tool. because when we select the text with the shape tool, we get those little nodes, and when we click on that node, we can now move that letter anywhere we want to. So we can manually kern that text and make it look like it should. Now we can do other things with it too. While it's selected, we can go up to the top and we can change the size of it. It's now 24 point. Let's take it to 18 point. It doesn't affect the rest of the text. It only affects the letter that has been selected with the shape tool. If we want to do multiple levels, we select them by holding down the Shift key and clicking on multiple letters. You can see this one is selected, and this one is selected, and this one is not. And so now we'll change the font size on these. Let's take it to, there it is at 18, so it all equals out, but we don't want to do that. We want to do something goofy. Let's do that. And you can see that we can change that any way we want to. Now let's select it one more time. Using our Shift key, we can select more than one piece. And what we want to do, we're going to put that right over top of the node, and we're just going to click and drag, and we can raise it up. We can move the letters closer or further apart. But because we've selected multiple letters, whatever we do to one will happen to the other. If you want to only work with one, then of course you only select the one letter that you want to work with. You can select as many letters at a time as you want to. Now, one more thing about the node tool. If we select text with the node tool, we get these two strange looking arrows. Now I can't do anything with this one right now. We'll come back to it in a minute. But this one, I can click and drag, and I can uniformly remove the spacing or add additional spacing between the letters. Every letter will add or decrease in space. Now, let's take another piece of text. And let's put a return in there, hard return. And you can see that part of my text is not showing, and that means that I need to do a refresh on my screen. So I go to Window, Refresh Window, and there we get what we're supposed to see. Now, I'm going to select that text. It's already selected with the Pic Tool, but I'm going to select it with the Node Tool. And again, here are all the little nodes, and I can move those letters around. I can change them, do whatever I want to with them. But what we're interested in now is this little character right here. And that little character right there allows me to reduce the amount of space between the lines, or increase it, of course. Okay? So, that is the Shape Tool. Hope you found this helpful. Talk to you again very soon.